But first, let's take a look into the list of group members we are consist of for this presentation in the table above. Before we go further, I'd like to touch a little bit about seaport and its benefits to the economics in general and for Pekan region respectively. A port often presents a perceived value to the nation since it improves the economic and society while simultaneously being subject to environmental restrictions. Port industries have moved to new locations in many port regions, whether those locations are in the same region or in another nation entirely, and the process known as port regionalization. Consequently, port regionalization might be a significant benefit for the growth of our nation, particularly in Pekan, which is a key site for multifunctional port services. Malaysia is increasingly being chosen as the preferred country to access the South Asian market due to its strategic location within the Southeast Asia area and solid infrastructure. Therefore, Pekan Pahang is a suitable site for a new port since it is close to the commercial districts.
Assalamualaikum and hi doctor. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nurul Anisha binti Mazgardi and my metric number is 279188. So today I will present my part, which is about the category of seaport that appropriate to be designed and built. First, the government should prioritize the Pekan Pahang land transport network as its primary benefits and should act quickly to take advantage of this chance. Pekan Pahang is well known for its existence, particularly when several multinational corporations such as Daimler AG, which is responsible for Mercedes-Benz, and the RB Hycon, which is responsible for Volkswagen, has construct factories and distribution facilities close by to expand their supply network. Additionally, Tanjung Agas Maritime Park and Tanjung Agas Oil and Gas and Logistics Industrial Park make Pekan Pahang the primary area for MNC to open store, major road and cycle the town of Pahang, allowing delivery to be moved to other inland regions to accommodate rising demand. Second, the location of the port. Pekan Pahang confronts the South China Sea and is situated in the main maritime lanes, which is advantageous to the government. Numerous countries in this region, including China, Korea, Indonesia, Japan, the Pacific Rings, the Philippines, as well as other countries from the Far East, are home to multinational enterprise. Pekan Pahang has also already turned into an MNC industrial region. Using these advantages, the government should build a sizable port that can serve several connected eastern countries. Lastly, rivalry with other ports. There is the seaport of Taman Lau in Tioman, the port of Kemaman in Chukai, Terengganu, the port of Kuantan in Tanjung Gelam, Terengganu, and the port of Dungun in Kuala Dungun, Terengganu. When you consider the distance and location between this port, just one port, which is Kuantan Port, is close to Pekan Pahang. To be more precise, Kuantan Port is a multi-purpose port that deals with a range of goods, including container, palm oil, liquid chemicals, and mineral oil. The port now serves as the focal point for all ships. Pekan Pahang already is a center for MNC and is important for logistics. So, the government could draw a lot more ships there if it constructs a major RoRo and repair-focused port.
Are the most common type of ports utilized for business shipping activity around the world. These ports have been relocated to a marine region to accommodate both smaller and larger vessels. Various seaports can be found along the coast and they efficiently handle freight exchanges. A cargo port and a cruise port will be added to a seaport's classification. A cruise port can also be referred to as home port, a port of call. A cargo port can be classified as either a bulk or break bulk port or container port. Seaports are the world's most important and busiest ports. Seaports are the most common type of port and an important part of marine transportation. We believe it is reasonable for the government to construct another seaport in Pekan Pahang. This port has the potential to be a large port that focuses on general ports by handling container freight, ro-ro and some services such as ship repairs, container repairs and bunkering. Pekan is Pahang's fourth largest district and it is known for its bargaining automotive industry, which includes a number of global companies such as Isuzu Ecom, Malaysia Suzuki, Daimler AG Mercedes-Benz, and Hicom, which have expanded their supply chain activities by constructing industry facilities and circulation centers. The Pekan Automotive Park, which was designed as a vehicle assembly park, could be seen bordering the approach to the town. The recreation center, according to the East Coast Economic Region Development, was designed to become a national and provincial hub for car assembly, vehicle component and segment assembly, and automotive R&D operations. When Pekan was announced as a modern territory industry region for several international organizations, it provided numerous marine benefits. One of the benefits is that there is a demand for sea transportation to convey shipments to various places and countries throughout the deep sea ocean. This new construction is necessary to meet the rising demand in Pekan's industry regions as well as the nearby areas of Kuantan and Mersing Johor. This is why EIDDA ports need to make a move to focus on ro-ro, freight and container cargo if the EIDDA port handles ro-ro cargo. It will be the second port on Malaysia's peninsula to offer this type of ro-ro cargo service. It also benefits those companies on the East Coast who work in the automobile industry by allowing them to save money by using services from EIDDA port rather than the port of Klang. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Novel Zuhri and my metric number is 268914. Today I'm going to talk about the topic of what kind of commodities that we think the port should have. First of all, before we decide what kind of commodities that our port should have, we need to understand what kind of general purpose that our ports should want. And we have decided that we will build a seaport, which is, it goes to our first point. I think the first commodities that the port should have is gasoline. Why is gasoline? Because gasoline is very important to make sure that the machines or the electricity in the port can go regularly. And regarding the availability of the gasoline, it is going to be hard, especially when we are on the sea. So I think by having much large capacity of gasoline would make us easier to do our jobs. And of course, by having a massive tank, we can also use it as for other purposes if we needed to. And so it goes to the second one. We think that we should have an intermodal transport system. Intermodal transport system is like a transportation system where you can access it from three areas, which is air, land, and then in the port. Why we choose this intermodal transport system? We chose this specifically because we want to make sure that all of areas we can get access to. So it would make us easier and more known for other people to use the functions of our port. And by having these traits, it also helps us to make easier moves to transport our goods that we are going to deliver. We can use it by air, land, or even through the port. By all that means, we really think that this intermodal transport system is a very good addition for our port. And so let's go to the third competition. We think that food and agricultural goods are very, very important to us. Why? Because when we are in the seaport, you will have limited supplies, right? And we do not want any of our workers to feel hungry or even have to postpone their work to buy some food outside of the port. So by having this food and agricultural goods, we think that we can service our workers as they should, and they can do their jobs regularly so that they can maximize the opportunities that can be given. And of course, by having this, we wanted people to use our seaport in order to maintain the foods that they want to have and all the good stuff that we hope people can get. And for the last one, homeland security. We think that homeland security is a very good addition to our ports, because sometimes, even in other places, disturbance might happen, right? So we want to make our security a top-notch, and we want to provide the best solution for that. So by having this homeland security, we want to increase the security in all of our ports in order to maintain the calmness, so there won't be any disturbance in the future, and we can regularly deliver our goods to people.
Hi, it's me again. As for the size of ship able to accommodated by the port in Pekan can be ranges from the small feeder, which are container ships under 3000 TEU, to the large size of vessels, which is approximately the size of ultra-large container vessel, which has a capacity of 14,501 TEU, is around 300 meters long, 49 meters wide, and 15.2 meters deep. Ro-ro ships, on the other hand, are roughly the size of the Grand Vision ship with a deadweight tonnage of 14,226. This port is broad enough to accept boats of this size, and it has the facilities and equipment to facilitate the passage of which and every port cargo that enters the port, making it appropriate for them to use the services. Our port has added additional cranes to the floating terminals, more yard facilities, and more adaptable port worker groups in order to support the larger ships. We can thus manage the peak effects of larger ships and shorten the time required for the cranes to do the loading and unloading operations at the berth tanks to all of the equipment and facilities. That's all from me, and my fellow member will present the rest.
Should the seaport be only the transit points for the transferring of the cargo from forelands to hinterland and vice versa, or should it be considered as a supply chain embedded? Why? First, a port must establish alliance including its supply chain member and collaborate with them to fulfill the daily growing needs for comprehensive logistics service, as well as the growing port competition in terms of being able to provide valuation service to port customers. The town's port is little, as evidenced by the fact that we enter it, making it difficult for it to compete with bigger ports that can accommodate a huge number of ships. For instance, our port collaborates with BMW. This suggests that any import BMW automobile will go through our port. Second, enhance the logistical and shipping liner service. By providing speedy service to shipping lines, it can entice them to visit the port again. Our ports need to improve the item it provides to provide the shipping liner with better service. The ship will spend a little less time at our ports, and the harbor will be able to take new shipping liners because of improving the product. Ports that operates fast and efficiently are preferred by shipping lines. Third, the increasing effectiveness of the ports. Incorporating the supply chains inside the harbor will improve the efficiency of the work that can be done here. By improving communication and information from off the port to shipping liners and logistical lines, our port efficiency may be improved and the shipping lines that arrive at our port will be satisfied. We can compete with the other port due to the quality of the service that we offer. Additionally, we offer first-rate terminal service to our customer. Technology such as EDI can help to enhance port performance by providing shipping liners with better service. Lastly, the harbor will then be transformed into a multimodal business. Ports start receiving cargo having arrived by road, inland waterways, rail, as well as produce it to ship for such a sea lake, where seaport are directional logistics system, where goods are shipped from ship to be dispersed to lands via roads, rail, and inland waterway modes that accomplish the residual legs of the transport system. The port system must have a high level of cooperation, interconnection, and interoperability for this. Utilizing these methods will allow our port to run more rapidly. So that's all from me. I will pass to other member. Thank you.
My name is Nur Afifah Nuha, metric number 279704. I will talk about question number 6. The factor that determine or influence the design of the port's layout. According to Dr. Teo Nonsabam, port management and expansion are involved the significance of the port's planning process, data collections, forecasting, stakeholder associations management, and also the judgments of ports expansion project and plans. Among these parts were explaining the term of amount of cargo or vessel throughput. The amount of vessel capacity are depending on how the size of the ports were designed. The capacity was also there to determine the efficiency of the port's authorities' activities, which is the ability of the port to handle the vessel within the general course. The planning was through in determined primarily by the size and the number of the berth, cargo handling, the storage of equipment haulings, the size of vessel to assemble to the port. A quintessential planning process included 5 different building structures. This consists the port's missions, the abilities and the ambition of the port's planning, the development of reaching the capacities and the capabilities, and the strategies that implements and the evaluation of the effectiveness the plans have been chosen. For the first one is the strategic ports planning. This was consists the reflecting the long term of the objective in the port's building an ambitious port. Generally, a port needed to try out of governments or old plannings by go beyond extrapolations, either by the role of the users of ports or the current status of the port competitors. Strategic planning was aiming for competitive advantages in program and activities at the port. The next ones are data collections in the port plannings. These strategic planning process are demand a comprehensive of data about internal resource and capabilities. Also the external competitive environments of the ports. In collecting the necessary data, a port should keep in the mind that not only to look into the quantitative data, but also need to value the qualitative elements. For example, a database can track fluctuation in the global steel trades, but it's more important for a port to know the general trends and why this trend exists, including the qualitative elements of evaluations. The next ones are traffic forecasting as a part ports planning and developments. Master plans and port infrastructure projects usually require a long-term forecast, as the designs and the construction of a port's infrastructure may take 5 years or more, and the infrastructure might be around 50 or 100 years coming, and also will affect the public decision makers and port authorities, and as a presents a long-term traffic forecast. Poor demand forecasts and estimations of future financial flows of revenue or the cost can lead to bad decision on port investments and a wrong timing of such investment and overall misallocation of resources and causing both public and private economics on financial loss of the quality port traffic forecast. The next one is stakeholder involvement in port plannings and developments. Who is a stakeholder? Stakeholder is the persons or a group that puts interest in the projects and will affected by the projects. These stakeholders are including the internal stakeholder, economic or contractual external stakeholder, public stakeholder, also the community stakeholder. The second last are the adaptive port planning. Why? Because the current approach to port planning, designs and evolution might not entertain fully into the accounts, and this could result in the plans and the design of port infrastructures. That's proof that in the quest under fast changing requirements. Consequently, the infrastructure has shortened economic lifetime, which makes payback of the investments higher. The last but not least is the port judgments of planning process of the planning chosen. Port infrastructure projects are under scrutiny due to the government's budgets and constraints, increased competition for lands and environment awareness, and there needs to integrate transport system. These considerations are also mirrored in appraisal and evaluations procedure applicable to port infrastructure projects. Government have to ensure that public funds are spent on activities that provide the greatest benefits to society and are spent most efficiently.
And as for the conclusion, to establish a new port that is perfect and beneficial for everyone, we are necessary to conduct extensive study to reach a consensus on how we should assemble our vision for building this port. We had also evaluated which type of port would be most suitable for Pekan Pahang, based on the outcomes that can be achieved and the fact that a major port may provide several advantages. We also believe that the government should emphasize the Pekan Pahang and transport network, given that seaports are the most prevalent form of port used by firms for international shipping. We determined that they are the best option to consider. And then in addition, for the commodities that we took, we chose petroleum goods, multimodal transport systems, homeland security, commodities. We think that these three factors were crucial for the future operation of the port. Regarding that the ships may be accommodated, we selected types of ships ranging from tiny to large. So in conclusion, the research we have conducted has already reached its end. The design, structure, strategy, and objectives are well prepared. We intend to develop this port as large as others, while also providing a new opportunity and increase maritime transportation enterprises in Malaysia and beyond the globe.